Welcome to the Gospel in Motion. Today we're diving into Mark chapters 4 and 5 in the King James Version. These chapters are packed with moments that hit hard. Jesus calming storms, teaching parables that make you think, breaking chains of fear, and bringing hope to people who felt completely out of options. If you're a teen looking for a Bible experience that feels real, powerful, and alive, you're in the right place. Let's jump in and watch faith move. Jesus began teaching by the seaside again. The crowd was so huge that he got into a boat and sat in it while everyone stood on the shore. He taught them many things using parables, and this is one of them. Listen. A farmer went out to plant seeds. As he scattered them, some fell on the path. Birds came and ate them. Some fell on rocky ground where the soil was shallow. They sprouted quickly, but when the sun came up, they dried out because they had no roots. Some seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them so they couldn't produce anything. But some seeds fell on good soil. They grew, multiplied, and produced a huge harvest. Then Jesus said, "Anyone who has ears to hear should pay attention." When he was alone with his followers and the 12 disciples, they asked him about the parable. He said, "You've been given the inside understanding of God's kingdom, but to others everything comes in parables. So that seeing they don't really see and hearing they don't really understand." Then he said, "If you don't understand this parable, how will you understand any of them?" The farmer plants the word of God. The seeds on the path are people who hear the word, but Satan immediately takes it away. The seeds on rocky ground are people who hear the word and get excited at first, but they have no roots. When trouble or pressure comes because of the word, they give up. The seeds among thorns are people who hear the word, but worries, money, and desires for other things choke it out and it doesn't grow. The seeds on good soil are people who hear the word, accept it, and produce a huge harvest. Jesus continued, "No one lights a lamp and then hides it under a basket or under a bed. You put it on a stand. Everything hidden will eventually be seen. Everything secret will eventually come out. So pay attention to what you hear. The way you measure things out is the way it will be measured back to you, and even more. Those who have understanding will receive more. Those who don't have it will lose even what they think they have." He said, "God's kingdom is like a man who scatters seed on the ground. He sleeps and wakes night and day, and the seed grows, he doesn't know how. The earth produces crops by itself, first the blade, then the head, then the full grain. When the grain is ready, he harvests it right away." Jesus said, "What can we compare God's kingdom to? What parable can we use? It's like a mustard seed, tiny when planted. But when it grows, it becomes larger than all the garden plants, with big branches where birds can rest." Jesus used many parables like this to teach the crowds, giving them as much as they could understand. He didn't speak to them without using parables, but privately he explained everything to his disciples. That same day, when evening came, Jesus said, "Let's cross to the other side." They left the crowd and took him in the boat, and other boats were with them. A huge storm hit, and waves crashed into the boat until it was filling with water. Jesus was in the back, sleeping on a cushion. They woke him and said, "Teacher, don't you care that we're about to die?" Jesus got up, told the wind to stop, and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." The wind stopped, and everything became completely calm. He said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and said to each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the sea obey him." Jesus and his disciples arrived on the other side of the lake, in the region of the Gadarenes. As soon as Jesus stepped out of the boat, a man with an unclean spirit came running toward him from the tombs. This man lived among the graves. No one could control him anymore, not even with chains. People had tried to tie him up, but he always broke the chains and smashed the shackles. No one was strong enough to stop him. Day and night he wandered through the mountains and the tombs, crying out and cutting himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from far away, he ran and bowed down before him. He shouted loudly, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Please don't torment me." He said this because Jesus had already told the unclean spirit to come out of the man. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion because we are many." The spirits begged Jesus not to send them out of the region. A large herd of pigs was feeding on a nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us into the pigs so we can enter them." Jesus allowed it. The unclean spirits left the man and went into the pigs, and the whole herd, about 2,000, rushed down the steep hill into the lake and drowned. The people taking care of the pigs ran off and told everyone in town and in the countryside what happened. People came to see for themselves. They found the man who had been possessed, sitting, dressed, and in his right mind, and they were terrified. Those who saw everything explained what had happened to the man and to the pigs. People began begging Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus got into the boat, the man who had been freed begged to go with him. But Jesus didn't let him. He said, "Go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has shown you mercy." The man went out and told everyone in the Decapolis what Jesus had done for him, and people were amazed. Jesus crossed back over the lake, and a large crowd gathered around him. A synagogue leader named Jairus came and fell at Jesus' feet. He begged Jesus, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and lay your hands on her so she can live." Jesus went with him, and a huge crowd followed, pressing in on all sides. A woman who had been bleeding for 12 years was there. She had suffered a lot under many doctors, spent all her money, and only got worse. She had heard about Jesus and thought, "If I can just touch his clothes, I'll be healed." She came up behind him in the crowd and touched his robe. Immediately her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was healed. Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. He turned around and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples said, "You see the crowd pressing around you, and you're asking who touched you?" But Jesus kept looking around to see who it was. The woman, trembling and afraid, came forward and told him the whole truth. Jesus said, "Daughter, your faith has made you whole. Go in peace and be healed." While he was still speaking, people came from Jairus' house and said, "Your daughter is dead. Don't bother the teacher anymore." But Jesus said to Jairus, "Don't be afraid. Just believe." He didn't let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John. When they arrived at the house, people were crying loudly and mourning. Jesus said, "Why all this noise and crying? The girl isn't dead, she's just sleeping." They laughed at him, but he put them all outside. He took the girl's parents and his 3 disciples into the room where she was. He took her by the hand and said, "Talitha Kumi," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl got up and walked around. She was 12 years old. Everyone was completely amazed. Jesus told them not to tell anyone what happened and told them to give her something to eat. Thanks for listening to the Gospel in Motion, Mark chapters 4 and 5 from the King James Version. These chapters show Jesus calming storms, breaking chains, restoring hope, and meeting people right where they are. If these moments spoke to you, keep going. There's more power, more purpose, and more of Jesus' story ahead. Tap into the next chapter and stay connected as your faith keeps moving.